Okay, good morning everyone. Start.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so yep. How many of you are here? Okay. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so in the last class, what we have discussed is Bohr magneton, and I think before that we have also talked about yeah, magnetization, angular momentum, these things. Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so today we'll be talking about a new concept. So this is called as okay. Okay, so today we'll be talking about demagnetization factor. Okay. Okay, so we have heard about magnetization, and this is something which is opposite to that. So what is it exactly? So whenever we have a magnetic field, let's say, and we try to magnetize a material, then there is some contribution which is also present that try to reduce this magnetization process. Okay, so that is basically the effect of demagnetization. So here, why this is important, because whenever we are measuring the magnetization, this demagnetization factor, or let's say demagnetization contribution, it can add some confusion, or let's say it can add some error into the actual value of magnetization that is coming from the material itself. Okay, so that is why we have to be careful, okay, in defining magnetic field inside a magnetic material. Okay, so let's say, so how to do this? Okay, so first let us consider, okay, a free space. Okay, so if it is a free space, then we have, let's say, these two quantities VA and HA. Okay, so what are these? These are basically applied magnetic fields. Okay, okay, so as we know that we can relate these two through this relation. BA will be mu naught A, mu naught times HA. Okay. So that is in the free space. This is true. Okay. Now let's say in this space, if we introduce a magnetic material or let's say magnetic solid. Okay. So insert a magnetic solid in this space. Okay. So then what will happen is that inside this solid material, the magnetic field will be different from BA or HA. Okay. So then inside the solid, the fields will be different. So let's say we call them BI and HI. Okay, right. So I is basically stands for internal. Okay. So now it actually these values of BI and HI, they depends on actually the position inside the solid where we are measuring. Okay, so that means that the shape of the solid is also important. Okay, now you can ask me why it is different inside the solid. The reason is that because in the free space we don't have any magnetic material. Okay, but when we are talking about a magnetic material and inside it, then the magnetic field inside it will not be same as that of outside. So it will be of course different from that. That is why we use different terms here. Okay. Now, as I said that the value of BI and HI, they will depend on the shape of the material. Okay. So a generic shape will be, let's say, an ellipsoid. Okay. So what is an ellipsoid? So ellipsoid is nothing other than a 3D ellipse. So we know that an ellipse looks something like that. Okay, so so you have basically two principal axes in an ellipse, A, B, but here you will have basically three. So you have A, B, and C. Okay, so let's say if we call it A, this one as B, and this one as C. Okay, so that is an arbitrary shaped object. Okay, and if we so in this case basically A, B, C, they are not equal. Okay, but they are direction of principal axis. Okay, now if A equals B equals C, then this will become a sphere, right? Okay, right. If let's say A and let's say B goes to infinity, okay, and C goes to 0, then what will it be? Anyone?
Straight line?
Not
Sorry,
straight line.
surface area.
Yes.
Plane.
So it will be
Plane.
like a flat plate. Okay. So it will not be exactly infinity, but let's say A and B are significantly larger than C. Okay. So it's like a 2D material, solid. Okay, something like that. So ellipsoid is basically a generic, general shape which can be converted into any of the objects that we want. Okay. So now let's say the object which we are talking about in the form of this solid that is placed inside the magnetic field has an ellipsoidal shape. Okay. So it can be any shape, but ellipsoid is the general one. Okay. So the point which we are trying to make is that the field inside this ellipsoid will be different from the field that is present surrounding it. Okay, and how they're related. So let's say if the magnetic field is applied along one of the principal axis of the ellipsoid, then this relation between HI and HA will be this. Okay, so HA is the applied field, and we have an additional term that is minus NM. Okay, so this N is called as demagnetization factor. Okay, and this is true throughout the material. Okay. Okay, any question on this?
Sir, why this minus n m vector terms is generating inside it?
Okay, so
Sir, again, it reduce the magnetization. That's why minus and sign will come. Sir, is
yes,
it
it
true?
is reducing the magnetization. That is true. Okay, so I'll give an example. Okay, it will clear the things. Okay, so just keep in mind that this M is the magnetization that is present inside the ellipsoid or the solid. Okay, and N is a factor, that is a number which is multiplying it. Okay, so let me give an example. Okay, let's take the case of a like a 2D sheet, let's say, or thin film. Okay. So let us take the example of okay. So let's say this is a 2D plate, or let's say thin film. Okay, does anyone? I think everyone is familiar with the thin film, right? Do you know what is a thin film? Yes or no?
Sir, transparent materials.
Okay, thin film is basically, let's say, so let's say if I have okay, so let's say I take a piece of silicon. Okay, okay, and let's say if I deposit a certain amount of a magnetic material, let's say, for example, very simply, I'll take it as an iron material. Okay, then since this is plate like, so this is basically effectively 2D, right? Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this iron which is going to be deposited on top of it, this will also be taking the same shape, right? So it will
Yes.
also be an iron layer which is deposited on top of that plate, right? So this whole thing we call it a thin film of iron. Okay, now how these are deposited and everything, that I think you will be, I mean, we can discuss it, but I think in measurement technique course you will be coming across this, and I think PhD students, you have already taken this 704 course, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so still, if you have any question, I can generally quickly say that. So the way these are, okay, so do you know what is a substrate?
So on which thin film is grown?
Hello?
Yes, sir. A substrate is a material on which this film is grown.
Yes. Okay, so let me, okay, then very quickly, let me try to say this thing. Okay, so let's say when we commercially, we can buy something called, okay, let me make a much simpler example. Okay, so have you seen your computer motherboard? Like you have a green color something on top of which you have lots of chips are kept there. Okay, so it is something similar to that, let's say. It is not exactly the same thing, but something similar to that. Okay, so you can buy commercially, let's say, some 6-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch, 3-inch, 15-inch diameter, some piece of silicon like this. Okay, right? And then what you do is that you cut a small piece of it from inside it, depending on your size. Let's say if I take 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter size, okay, of silicon piece, I cut from here. Okay, and then what I do is that I have some thin film deposition technique where basically I load this substrate into the machine. or chamber. So it is basically a closed chamber. Let's say, so very simply I am explaining this thing. So let's say it's a closed chamber which is pumped. Okay, so the pressure inside is, let's say, of the order of, it's a like 10 to the power minus 6 millibar, or let's say lower than that. Okay, so it's very low pressure, basically almost vacuum inside. Okay, and then let's say I have some iron material which I have inside the boat, and if I heat it, okay, so I pass some current and then I heat this material. So then what will happen is that it will evaporate. Okay, and then slowly it will release, it will be basically going away from it, and it will be deposited, or this iron atoms will be reaching here and they will be deposited on top of this silicon here. Okay, okay, you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we keep it doing for some time, then after a point we will get a certain thickness of iron that is deposited on this silicon substrate, and that is called as a thin film of iron. Okay, so typically we take a thickness of the order of, let's say, few hundred nanometer. Okay, now why do we need a high vacuum here or low pressure? Anyone? Anyone?
So that the material gets directly deposited, means there will be no scattering by the gas
No
molecules present.
impurities. Impurities free.
Okay, what are the impurities here?
Maybe the air molecules may be distracted that molecule atoms to get deposited on the silicon substrate. So it also it prevents from the oxidization also.
Okay, yeah, but that is yeah, that is one thing, of course, yeah. But the main reason why we kind of like create a vacuum here is because we do not want any collision here. Okay, so you know you have basically the mean free path. Okay, so this mean free path, what is mean free path?
Minimum distance up to which particle will follow a path without any scattering or collision.
Yes. So it is basically, let's say, the average distance between two collisions. Okay. So if we have more pressure here, that means there will be more number of air molecules, or let's say gas molecules, that is present here. So the chances of scattering are very high. Okay. But if we release it, if we like take this out, then basically there will be almost nothing there. So the mean free path will increase, which means that if I am releasing one atom, or let's say iron atom from here, I have a higher chance that the iron atom will reach the substrate. Okay. And also what I think was mentioned, that this ambience will be quite pure also, so chances of oxidation will be less and everything. Anyway, so that is the main idea. Anyway, so finally what we end up getting here is that a certain thickness of iron that is deposited on top of this silicon. So we call it as a thin film of iron. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so very basic concept, but there are different ways we can do it. Anyway, so we will be covering it in other courses. Anyway, so now let us then have to go to another slide. Okay, so now suppose I have a film like that. Okay, now, so this is, let's say, the iron film. Okay, and let's say it is magnetized in this direction. Okay, or let's say the applied field is in the same direction. Okay, so externally I am applying a field which is along this direction. Okay, now for the same material, or it's the same film, I can have an applied magnetic field in this direction also, which means that the material will be magnetized in this direction. Okay, do you agree? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so now let's first talk about this particular case. Okay, case B. Okay, So here, let's say I have a field, external field that is in this direction. So this material is also magnetized in this particular direction. So in this case, let's say it is the Z direction. Okay, right? Which means that the field is applied perpendicular to the plane. Okay. So now here, if it is the case, then one can think of it that these small magnetic monopoles will be present on the surfaces in this manner. So let's say these are my north and south poles, or like positive or negative, if I call it like this. Okay, so they'll be present on the surface like this. Okay, right? So now, as we know that this basically monopoles, they cannot just stay alone, so they have to kind of form a complete loop, right? So these lines, they have to kind of come back, or they have to be completed, right? Do you agree with that or not? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me why?
Sir, because in magnetic materials, monopoles doesn't exist.
Okay, yes. So the reason is basically this total divergence is always 0. Okay, which means that, let's say if we talk about this B as, let's say, M plus H, so whatever del dot M is created, that has to be compensated by del dot H. Okay, so that the total divergence, it stays to be 0, which means that if something is going out, it has to come back. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so equal and opposite divergence. Okay, so now if we look at this, so what will happen is that from here, these flux lines will be coming out from the top and they will be finishing, or they will end up at the bottom. Okay, right? And we have multiples of such lines, right? Right. Okay, so if we just simply think of this, then what we can say is that these surface poles, they will be give rise to an additional field that we call it as a demagnetization field. So we have a magnetization which gives a field that is in the Z direction, and we have a demagnetization field that is arising in the minus Z direction. Is this clear? Anyone with confusion?
Sir, mathematically it is coming that minus divergence of H is present, but physically what is actually opposing this M vector?
It is not opposing. It's just that this total divergence has to be 0, which means that if see, what do we mean by that monopoles don't exist? It means that separately one of these will have a finite divergence, right? Which means that if something is coming out, that will never come back.
Yes, sir.
So that is violating conservation principle. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here also, if there is a M, that means some, let's say you can call it as a tiny magnet. Okay. So this top part is north pole and bottom part is south pole. Like we gave the analogy of this thing earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
So this flux, whatever is coming out from the top, it has to, this path has to be completed, right?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, monopoles will exist. Right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now if you think of that, I have this one line, then from here I have another line, from here I have another line. Okay. So all these tiny contributions will add up, and effectively we will have a magnetic field that is opposite to the direction of M. Okay. Right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
So this is basically demagnetizing the material. So we call it as HD.
Okay, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So simply you can think it up in this way. If there is a magnetization, there will be a field that is associated with it. Right? Okay. So now in this particular case, okay, if you look at that, since the geometry is such that basically this magnetization is perpendicular to the plane, okay, so many of these flux lines, they will go through the material itself, okay, right? Do you understand what I mean?
So please repeat it.
Okay. Okay, so there will be a demagnetization field, that is clear to you, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now this demagnetization field, because of this particular geometry or particular case, will be passing through the material itself. So for example, if the monopoles are at the edge of this sample, okay, then the demagnetization field will be outside the sample, right? Or the return flux path is not coming inside the material, right? Okay, let me use a different color. Okay, so for example, this particular demagnetization field part, it is not affecting the sample, right? Or this particular path is not coming through the sample, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, but if we think of this one or that one, then this return flux lines, let's say this component of the demagnetization field is coming inside the sample, right? Or whatever the poles that are towards the center, or let's say inside the basically close to the center, then their contribution will be going inside the sample. Is this part clear or not clear?
So that means this demagnetization is effective at the core of the material.
No, it is not core or anything. It is just the shape of the material and which geometry. That's what I mentioned here. You remember that which direction you are applying the magnetic field. So that factor is basically determined which direction you are applying the field and how the sample is placed basically with respect to it. Okay, but is this part clear or not? Okay, let me get this straight. This is a very simple concept. Okay. Okay, so let's say I have a bar like this. Okay, right? So I have a M that is in this direction. Okay, now there will be demagnetization field in this direction. Okay, so basically flux lines are coming from here, and effectively there will be multiple flux lines that are coming out. Okay, okay. So the total contribution, if I add up, I will get an HD. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
See how we are getting M. We are applying a magnetic field. So that means these flux lines are basically going here, right? Also, right? Huh? Right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yes,
so there are
sir.
all moments that are aligned like this. Okay. This altogether sum is giving me this M, right? Okay. Similarly, whatever these return flux lines that are coming out from here, that gives me this HD. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now here, because of this particular case, those part of the HD which are outside the sample, they will not contribute towards demagnetization, or they will not affect the sample. But those part which are passing through the sample inside the center, or this part, okay, I mean these lines which are crossing the material, they will be giving you a finite contribution towards your basically demagnetization contribution. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Let me
Yes.
make a comparison. I think then probably this will be a little bit.
Can we tell that HD is a I mean dependent on the material property of it is property mainly of the material?
Yes, it is also dependent on the property of the material.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let me take this particular case. Okay, M. where basically it is magnetized in plane. Okay. So here these monopoles will be located here, right? Okay. So if I have a return path, it will look something like this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you look at here in this particular case, that these lines will give me my demagnetization field. Okay. But here in this particular case, none of these flux lines are passing through my sample. Right? They are
Yes,
far
sir.
away from the body of the material. Right?
Yes, sir.
They are not passing through the material.
No.
So that is why in this case, when the applied field is along the plane of the material, my demagnetization contribution will be negligible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But here, if it is perpendicular to the plane, that is in the case B here, here you can see these return flux lines are coming through the material. So a part of HD will be significantly contributing towards your demagnetization. Okay. Tanya, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Then that means direction of giving the magnetic field is also depending.
Of course, that's what I said.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Direction, shape of the material. Let's say if it is not thin film, if it is some other shape, arbitrary shape. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's say if the shape of the material is something like this. Okay. And if my direction of magnetic field is like that, okay, then a lot of these demagnetization paths will be entering the material, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's what I said, that if it is along one of the principal axes, and if it is, let's say, I mean, it basically depends on the shape and the direction of the field. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So anyone has any question on this?
Sir, 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 the direction of demagnetization field would be opposite to the direction of magnetization, no? Like from negative to positive it will be.
Can you repeat again?
Sir, the direction of demagnetization field should go from negative to positive, no? Like opposite to the direction of magnetization.
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, again, yes, it should be opposite to the direction of that. But again, it depends on the shape of the object and which direction you are applying the external field.
Sir, the shape and the screen, there you have made the HT from positive to negative.
Yes.
So it should be positive. So how?
Is it
Like
not
it should
clear?
be opposite, no?
No,
So the direction is not.
your voice is breaking. Hello?
Sir, the direction. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Sir, I'm saying the direction is not clear. Like the direction which you have, the direction in the screen is positive to negative. So it should be opposite.
Yes, it is opposite in this particular case. Yes. Okay. Let me. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, when in the direction of aim is z direction and in the HD is the opposite direction and lines of force is passing through the material, then they are cancelled out, na? After that.
That's what I am saying.
They
So
land
basically,
in
so then
Lenz's
demagnetization effect
law,
will be significant.
they are cancelled out.
They might not exactly cancel out, but there will be a significant cancellation, or there will be a significant kind of like demagnetization effect.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So I think earlier Ravina was asking question, right? Hello? Ravina?
Yes, sir.
You are asking earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me make it a little bit more clear. Okay, right? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
what are we doing here? So basically, let's say this white slide, that is our free
Yes,
space. Okay, right? And we have, let's say, I'm just giving you a very simple, let's say, a spherical or circular kind of object. Okay. So what we started with is that outside we have Bi and Hi. Okay. So Bi is related to Hi through this. Sorry, not Bi actually. Ba and Ha, and they are related through this relation. Okay, so this is the relative permeability. Okay, of permeability of free space. Okay, permittivity. Sorry, permittivity free space. Okay, so that is basically all everywhere in the space. This is the case. Okay, so Ha is the applied magnetic field, and Ba is the related quantity which is with it. Okay, do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So now what I do is that I keep a magnetic solid, I bring it inside this space. Okay, right? So now the point what I'm trying to make is that inside this material, it will not be Ba and Ha, or the value of magnetic field or magnetization will not be Ha and Ba exactly. They will be different from that, and we named it as Bi and Hi. Okay. Why we said that? Because we said that this material has certain magnetization. Okay, and that is affecting this picture. So Bi and Hi, they will not be exactly equal to this. Okay, and now what we are saying here is that because of this particular situation, or let's say when we bring a magnetic solid into this into the atmosphere of, let's say, an external magnetic field, then what will happen is that the magnetic field will basically give you some magnetization inside the material, right? Okay, so let's say my Ha is, sorry, okay. Okay, so let's say this external magnetic field is Ha, that is applied in this direction, right? Okay, so Ravina, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's say Ha is the applied magnetic field that is in this direction. Okay, now of course in the free space there will be no magnetization, right? But inside the material,
yes,
here, that will give rise to some non-zero magnetization, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because it will try to align the moments along its direction, and that will give me some magnetization. Okay, now what we do in reality, suppose we are doing a magnetic measurement, what we do is that we get the value of applied magnetic field. Okay, so this is basically field value we get. So let's say it is 1 Tesla or 2 Tesla, or let's say 100 Gauss, whatever it is. Okay, that we externally apply, we get the value from there, from the magnet basically. Okay, so if you have a magnet, we know what value we are applying from there. Okay, and let's say what we measure is some magnetization. Okay, so let's say some value in EMU per gram we measure. Okay, right? Now the point which I'm trying to make here is that, so now if we have this M and Ha, then we can also get some value of susceptibility from here, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what I am trying to say here is that this is not exactly correct all the time, because this Ha, which we are thinking as the external magnetic field, that is not the correct field that the moments inside this material is experiencing. Okay, so the field inside the material is different from Ha. So it is Hi. Okay, so Hi is not equal to Ha. Okay, and what will be the value of Hi? Or if we want to know that what is the basically the correct value of magnetic field inside the material, then what we have to do is that we have to take care of this demagnetization factor. Okay, so that is why I simply gave this example. Let's say very simply, if I have a thin film like this, okay, right? Okay, let's say this is my external magnetic field direction, okay, right? And this is my magnetization that is generated as a result of this, okay, right? So if I simply do the experiment, what I will get here is that I'll get a table with certain value of HA and M, right? Okay. Now I can plot this M versus HA and I can calculate different quantities. I can also say that, okay, this is the value of magnetization, that is the susceptibility, but that is not entirely correct. Okay, so because this magnetization, we are thinking that this is the field that this moments inside it the material is experiencing, but it is not true. Why? Because we have just explained that in this particular case, because of the shape of this object and the direction of magnetic field, okay, what will happen is that there will be a significant amount of demagnetization field that is passing through this material. Okay, so effectively the total field or the actual field that the material is experiencing will be, let's say, HA plus, or let's say HD. Okay, right? So whatever M we are calculating, that is a response of HA plus HD. Is this clear? Ravina?
Yes, sir.
Or you are more confused?
No, sir. Clear, sir.
It is actually very difficult to explain it without, if it's on board, I can just clear it in 2 minutes. But it's a little difficult actually to explain it here. Okay, but for the same sample, if I just do the measurement in other direction, for example, if I just apply the field in this direction, okay, then my demagnetization contribution will be almost negligible. Okay, that's what I explained here, that here these demagnetization fields are not passing through the material. Okay, so in such case,
Yes,
I do not need to take care of, or basically this contribution I don't need to consider at all. So there my HA is basically the field that actually these moments are experiencing. Okay, so it's simply the geometry of the material with respect to the magnetic field which determines the demagnetization factor or demagnetization value. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay, any question or any more clarity is required? Anyone has any question? So Smita? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are calling H D as demagnetization field. Okay. Okay, right. Good. So, and as we see that this field is coming or the originating from M. Okay, so if the value of M is high, more number of return flux lines will be appearing. That means the value of HD will be high also, right? So in a way, HD will be proportional to M, right? Okay. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So very simplistically, what we can say is that if it is an ellipsoidal, let's say magnet material with uniform M inside, then the general formula of HD will be minus N times M. Okay, so I hope that why the minus sign is coming, everyone understands now, right? Tanya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, okay. So now the general form is HD, and let's say the ith component will be minus sum over j nij mj. Okay, so this is a tensor. Okay, now if m is along one of the principal axis of the ellipse, okay, then this nij can be diagonalized, okay, so that we can write it, this n will be, let's say, nx 0 0 nz, okay, with the trace of n, which is basically nx plus ny plus nz will be equal to 1. Okay, you agree? So basically off diagonal components will be absent. Okay, Abhishek. Abhishek?
Yes, sir.
Is this part clear to you?
Voice is lagging, sir.
Huh?
What's wrong? Voice is lagging here, sir.
Okay, so what I'm asking is this part what we have explained so far, is it clear to you? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir,
So I'm saying,
yes,
you
sir.
have a question?
Sir, please explain, sir, this slide, sir, once again, sir.
This particular slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this first equation, is it clear, or I need to explain again? Okay.
Sir, as you have told, sir, the divergence, the summation of the whole divergence is 0, then the
Yes.
magnetization will be opposite to the H.
Yes. Yes, yes. So basically this is Maxwell's equation, del dot B is 0. Okay. So
Yes.
B is nothing other than the sum of m and h. Okay.
Yes.
Which means that if there is a del dot m, that will be equal to minus of del dot h. Which means that whatever divergence that is coming from m, it has to be compensated by the divergence that is created because of this magnetization. Okay. So as you know that if I have a magnetic moment, or let's say magnet, then that will give me some field, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, just give me 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that is why basically what we are explaining here is that, so see, if we have any moment like this, okay, so that will give me some field, right? Huh? You agree with that?
Yes. Yes,
See,
sir.
for example, whenever you have seen permanent magnets, right? like magnets which you can buy in market. Small magnets, bar magnet, you have seen it, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you take that magnet close to something, either it attracts or it repels, right? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why? Because it creates some magnetic field and the other object is getting affected by that field. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here also, if there is a magnetization, that will create some field here, and that is the demagnetization field here. Okay. And depending
Okay,
on
sir.
the relative orientation of this object with respect to the field, we will get a contribution of demagnetization field. Okay. So here, that's what we wrote, that if M is high, this HD will be high also. Okay. So it is basically proportional to this, and this proportionality constant is N, and the minus sign is coming because the direction is opposite. Okay. And the general form is this one, so we can express it in terms of a tensor representation. And if this M is along the principal axis, then basically these off diagonal components will vanish. Okay. And this total sum of this nx ny, there will be 1. So what does it mean is that this n, total n cannot be more than 1, because if it is more than 1, then basically your demagnetization field is becoming higher than your magnetization. That is not possible, right? Because it is appearing because of your magnetization only. Okay.
Sir, it should be exactly equal to 1, or it can be less than 1 also.
It can be less than 1. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But the total trace nx plus ny plus nz, that has to be 1. Okay. But we always don't consider all the 3 components, because of the geometry, we are only interested in the component which is getting inside the material. Okay. 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 So what we have got here is that Hi will be Ha plus Hd. Okay. So this is our demagnetization field. Okay. So what we can do here is that Hi we can write as minus N M. Okay. Now we know that Bi equals to mu naught times, let's say, Hi plus M. So here what we can do is that we can write it as H A minus NM plus M. Okay. So we're just plugging in this into this expression. So we can write Bi will be mu naught times Ha plus 1 minus N times M. Okay. Or we can write it as Bi will be equal to Ba plus mu naught times 1 minus N times M. Okay. 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 So what we get here, that Di, which is the internal field, and A is the applied field, they are not exactly equal, but there is another factor, that is mu naught times 1 minus N times M. Okay. So now if M is large, that means if the magnetization which was present inside the material before it was magnetized, if it is large compared to basically Ha, then this demagnetization factor has to be taken into consideration seriously. Okay. Right. But if M is small, then this second term will not contribute large. So then Bi and Ba will be almost close to each other, and then the demagnetization factor will not be contributing much. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Then demagnetization corrections have to be seriously, okay? But if weak magnetism okay, then it can be ignored. Okay, ठीक है? Any question on this? No? Okay. Okay. Okay, any question? No? Okay, so then we'll stop here today. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be starting at 11. Is it okay?
Yes,
with
sir.
everyone? Okay. Okay. So today I'll try to upload these things. I have to create the website, which somehow because I had some problem with my laptop, so I could not do it yet. So today I'll try to create the website and I'll upload the lectures and videos. Okay. Okay. So let me stop the recording. Okay. Stop.